Now I have to start drinking the $1,000 bottles of wine.
Hello and welcome to episode number 17 of the, we're not in the timing quite yet, of the Unrelenting podcast for March 4th, 2022. I am Darren O'Neill, coming to you live from a bunker deep in the heart of Middle America, just outside of Chirac, because I, being of Irish descent, can still broadcast in the USA.
That's right, which is not something that a lot of foreign media, especially Russian foreign media, can do anymore.
We had to reroute your signal through Mexico to make it okay. Because anything coming in from Mexico, totally okay with the USA.
That's right. Mexico's, it's not even a sieve. It's like a water hose.
You are Sir Gene.
That I am, still.
It was, what's her name? Ann Coulter that said, oh, if Russia would have only invaded Mexico.
Yeah. Well, there is a whatchamacallit B comic. What is that website? Something B?
Oh, the Babylon
B.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. All of the fake news, what it's meant to be fake news.
It's hilarious, but
satirical fake news.
What your neighbor there used to be, that Wisconsin website, what was it called?
That Wisconsin website. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, the funny one.
The funny one. All I know is that the mayor of Chirac says she has the biggest dick in the room.
Probably does.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, this is the brand new world order.
I mean, we're looking at it every time she does a speech. So,
and I have to say, the 9 a.m. start, your voice does sound different. It's very
brilliant. It's a little deeper, a little more radio-y.
The sultry Gene.
Yeah. And then it progressively just goes up from there all day long. No, what am I thinking of? The they were around for 30 years probably now. Started out of Eclair.
A Wisconsin-based website.
Yeah, I think they may have moved at some point, but they were in Wisconsin originally. It's where they started. They're like the Bee, and except they became, more woke now. But they used to be hilarious back when you were younger.
Yeah, way back when.
Yeah, back. Well, it'll come to me. Anyway.
Welcome to Unrelenting, where Gene tries to figure out the name of a long-lost website for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, well, that won't be the only thing I'm trying to remember.
Oh, Blue Deuce 33 says The Onion. Was that?
The Onion, yes, absolutely.
I didn't realize they were out of Wisconsin.
Yeah. They were.
Thank you, Blue Deuce 33.
Very good. So I was trying to think of some fun topics for today for us.
Well, I know, because your handler said do not speak of Ukraine.
Well, I don't even know what that is, honestly. But so I thought, what, in kind of memory of days gone by, I thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit about how would you spend your last week on Earth.
I know you posted that, but there are so many questions involved. I mean, the first would be, am I me and only have the resources available to me at this particular point?
Yes.
Okay, that's different then. that's a different
it's
story.
It's not as fun.
No, it's not.
But I think we have to put that limitation on there, because otherwise it's no different than, any other wishful thinking. Like, well, the first thing I do is win the lottery.
Yes.
The next thing I do is
win Adriana Lima.
Elon Musk to send me off the planet so I get to live forever. It's like, no, this is not a magic genie carpet ride. You get questions that you can outsmart the genie and manage to get infinite questions kind of thing.
Although, to be fair, if you're leaving this mortal coil in 1 week and you have credit cards, you can pretty much spend anything you want, because you're never going to have to pay it back.
Oh, really? You have that much credit available to you right now after COVID?
I don't know. I haven't really checked.
You haven't checked. Well,
are all the limits going down? I thought they'd be going up and up.
A lot of limits have gone down. Absolutely.
They're like, you used to have that $50,000 limit. Now,
exactly.
$14.65. You want to buy groceries? No.
it's an interesting concept too, because what happens is the limits are based on risk profile, and things like, I don't know, potentially a war and crazy inflation tend to increase risk for everybody, and that decreases your credit profile. And so what occasionally will happen is you might be, a reasonably typical American using about 50% of your credit. And all of a sudden they decrease your limit. And now you're using 75% of your available credit. Well, 75% usage of your available credit is a larger risk to the credit card companies. So if one card does this and decreases you, and then the next time the rest of them check, which I don't know if this is monthly or quarterly or however often they revise this stuff, you're going to end up with all the credit cards lowering their limits, because now you're at a higher risk. You're closer to the edge, as it were.
Well, yeah, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's a circular-driven, mechanism. So eventually, if one of your credit card companies decides to lower your limit and you don't immediately call a different one to try and raise limit or open up another card to free that back up and have a under 50%, really, they want under 25. I mean, that's like where you don't damage your credit at all is under 25%. We don't provide financial advice. But when this ball starts rolling and they actually start lowering your limits, it's a chain reaction, and it keeps going until you get to the point where you have literally no credit available, and all you're doing is just trying to pay off credit cards because your credit score is now in the 600s instead of 700 or 800s, and you can't get any more credit until that's paid off. So, dangerous thing. Ideally, go to the bank and take all the money out and keep it in cash.
Yeah, well, that's...
we don't provide financial advice.
Of course not. But that's what you had talked about on the last episode. Get a big safe, get all your cash.
Well, big. I mean,
for you, it would have to be, to all that cash, it would have to be huge. Or you might want to start diversifying a little bit, as we said, into metals.
Those $1,000 bills, and it doesn't feel like a whole lot.
But that's why you just need the gold coins, because that you can get that amount of cash into the safe then a little bit easier.
And we talked about that as well. In how the hell are you going to pay for shit? What, are you going to scrape filings off the gold coins?
I think you're going back to that. Just when all the digital systems die
for everything.
Yeah, but it's going to be $1,000 for a loaf of bread anyway. But that's welcome back to the Weimar Republic, everybody. It's early morning. All your money is worthless.
Wheelbarrow.
Yeah, bring that wheelbarrow full of cash to the grocery store. There? And by the time you get there, you need 2 wheelbarrows. So it's a completely different thing.
Well, I've already seen the first statement coming out of one of the administration departments saying that people should lower or raise their temperatures in the house to use less energy, since we have less available now.
Well, this has been going on for a long time. This will be a good excuse.
This reminds me of World War II type recommendations.
Well, they were already making the recommendations. The power company here, Commonwealth Edison, now just ComEd, and they keep redoing their logos, which I think is hilarious, that it's like the power company thinks they need to look more modern and more slick. Hip. Because you have so many choices when it comes to who you're getting your power from.
Well, you do in Texas.
But they send you every month, here is the amount of power you used. Here's the amount your efficient neighbors use. And it's like, so what? I can afford to pay the bill. I'm not in the average home because I am in the home all day. I work out of the house. I use multiple computers. They power, so
you hate the planet, basically. Yes. Is what you're saying.
Yes. I keep running more and more computers just to try to blow the planet up. But of course, my power consumption is going to be different than a house that has everybody working during the day and doesn't need to run electricity or the heat or the air conditioning to the same level. But this is, this whole rationing energy is not new, but now it's going to be for a different cause. I saw some speculation where, this whole global warming thing that they're pushing, which is maybe it's good that they changed it to climate change now. but we know that still they're telling you the planet is warming. I've seen
it's cooling, man.
Speculation, though. Well, people are telling you it's warming. Mm-hmm. Those that are the alarmists tell you that.
That's because they're full of hot air.
And the speculation is, you know what? A small nuclear war would cool the planet. So it might be good for...
that's a great idea.
Uh-huh.
I'm digging that.
A small nuclear war would send in enough into the atmosphere, enough dust that the planet would cool down by a couple of degrees and we'd all be safe. We wouldn't have to worry about burning gas. We could go back. That's
what happened last time, 11,000 years ago, when the small nuclear war broke out.
Were you afraid when that happened? I mean, were hiding under your desk?
They did have the desk instructions 10,000 years ago. Yeah, or 11,300 years ago, I think is what it was. But yeah, it's, unfortunately the mammoths died, and the giant cats we used to have here in the U.S. But other than that, it wasn't really called the U.S., obviously, but that in this place, relatively speaking.
But the fact that you're seeing that kind of speculation, I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know.
It'd be good for the planet. I mean, let's face it, a small nuclear war would probably be good for the planet.
Yes. What could be better?
Mm-hmm. And it kind of hits on all the, all the agenda topics that the New World Order types like, which is population reduction, cooling the planet off, doing a reset of the monetary funds back to like seashells and things.
Right. Or gold.
Yeah. And they have probably a lot of both. So I think maybe this is the solution. Maybe it's the final solution they've been working for quite a while.
Now, this is the ultimate in leveling the playing field when you get the rich, any horrible people actually that make over like 30 grand a year, which a lot of people consider to be wealthy.
Minimum wage is $45,000 a year right now.
Okay, so anybody that makes over minimum wage, but even I think there's a lot of places in the world that think people making minimum wage here are rich, which compared to the rest of the world,
well, they do have cell phones, cars, and televisions.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So there is that, but all of these scams are to get your wealth into the digital world. And this is my fear with the crypto.
Mm-hmm.
This could all be wiped away.
No, yeah, completely.
In a heartbeat. And you'd be like, it's great that you're like, hey, but wait, I had $25 billion in Bitcoin.
But it doesn't even matter because crypto is useless without an exchange.
Right.
So you can still have your 25 billion in Bitcoin sitting there, but there's no way to trade that for anything else.
Right. You can still have your little USB wallet.
Correct.
I still got my Bitcoin.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. You can't get it onto the blockchain anymore. You can't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So that is worthless. This is why the physical, whether it's currency or something else.
Yeah.
The physical representation of value is very important, and that has been under attack for years now because it is all a part of the big reset.
Well, and the convenience. Why was gold used? It wasn't because it was shiny and pretty. I mean, initially, I'm sure it was, but it was because it was hard to get and heavy. And because it's heavy, it means you don't need to carry like a whole ton of gold with you. You can just carry a little tiny bag or a few coins.
Yes, that's why when you're talking, a ounce is worth what now? 15. Gold at the ounce now is 2,000 now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's easy to carry around.
I remember buying it for $220,
and it wasn't way back 10,000 years ago. That's
not that old.
But
no, I think 220. I remember it sat at around 400 for a damn long time,
and then kind of start creeping up.
Yeah.
And it's a interesting hedge. Again, we don't give financial advice, but watching the markets.
And I still think the problem with gold is like, how the hell are you going to trade it? It's going to be too
easier
difficult.
than Bitcoin.
Easier than Bitcoin is very true, but harder than like trading ammunition or trading iodine pills or trading useful things.
So you think we're going back to the barter system entirely?
Oh, I think the barter system is the first sort of default. This is why I used to wear a Rolex all the time. is because
you might need to get out of a Mexican jail.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I literally wore that with the thought in the back of my mind that this is a token that I can trade, and it's a well-known token enough that it should be accepted worldwide. If you wear some super fancy watch like a Philippe Patel or something, or one of the brands that's like tens and tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, no one's going to know how much your watch is worth. But if you wear a Rolex, which is a relatively cheap on the expensive watch side, and everybody knows what it is because, they're prolific. Everyone's got one. So it's something that you likely will be able to trade for a favor, whatever the favor is. Whether it's you're stuck in the desert without, gasoline and your car broke down, that gasoline will be expensive, but you'll be able to trade it for a watch.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But, going back to the original question.
So my Apple Watch is going to be worthless now if I trade
well,
that.
Yes. Just like the crypto, just like any digital funds, no matter what you're calling them. If you can't access things, they are not worth anything.
Yeah. So we're starting to cover the basics of if you've got a week left to live, what would you do? So you wouldn't walk around with crypto because that won't be worth a whole lot.
Well, no, you would take everything you have and cash it in.
But then what? Cash it in for what? US dollars? What would you cash it in for? Rubles?
Whatever.
You buy on the down.
Well, no, because you only have a week to live, so you're not speculating at this point.
Okay, so what are you cashing out for? What are you going to do with that money?
I don't know. I would just do the same damn thing I always do.
That's not an interesting show if you just say, I don't know. Step 1, cash out. Step 2, I don't know.
The reality is most people, when asked that question, it's like, well, and you hear this with people that have terminal illnesses and know that their time is short. If they're still well enough, you often hear like, well, I want to travel the world. It's like, I don't know. Traveling the world's a pain in the ass.
Well, except you can't fly over anything anymore.
Well, especially you can't go over Russia. Very dangerous. I'm not the type that would go lay on a beach or anything. I really enjoyed being in Ireland.
Want to go to the Bikini Atoll?
The what?
The Bikini Atoll? Atoll?
I don't know.
That's the island where we've been testing our nuclear weapons.
Oh, well, then no, that would probably be nice and warm, but I don't know. I don't know the radiation level there. You only have a week, though, so it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. That's the beauty of it.
I guess for most people, again,
you want to take a trip around the country?
Since you are stuck with the amount of funds that you have, although I guess you could go rob a bank. You're only going to live for another week anyway, so this kind of makes it feel like Chicago 24/7, which is commit all the crimes you want.
Well, but you may if your crime is over $500, you may actually end up in jail
over like 1,000.
1,000. Oh, okay. So you just commit a bunch of $900 crimes,
right? That makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
And there's a no bail law now too, and you're not going to have a court date within a week, so you could go commit whatever felonies you want. You're fine.
That's a good idea.
They'll just kick you back out. Not that going on a crime rampage is what you want to do with your final week, although I think most people it would be all the things you never did, and you're like, well, maybe I want to try this. And
this is beginning to sound more like an episode of Batman.
Maybe. Is that we want to be the Batman, or do you want to be the Joker?
Exactly. No, don't you think the Joker has a lot more fun?
Yeah, he has Harley Quinn, depending on which universe.
That's a lot of fun right there. It's a lot of crazy fun, man.
That's a whole lot of fun.
It's a whole lot of basket of fun.
That week will be over before you know it. You'll be like, oh, damn.
It's the best way to do it, man. If you can't remember what you did that week, you probably did the right thing.
You probably had a lot more fun than you should have.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting thought exercise because you're limiting, and this is, like I said, I think the condition is worth doing, so it's not just pure imagination of limiting it to your current situation, lifestyle, money, etc., and just really think, if you knew you only had a week left to live, what would you do with that time?
And you may.
So I bought some new tires for the car.
So that's you'd really be driving a lot then in that final week.
I've been meaning to do this for a while, and I thought if there's a week left, might as well buy some new tires.
With cash, though.
Oh, no. Oh, I just bought them on a credit card.
that you're never going to have to pay. See, this again, you're going back to Mike theory.
Right. Yeah, you might as well, right?
Have a lot of expensive meals. I mean, I know you would try. How many of those bottles of $500-$700 scotch would you drink in that week?
Well, I'm not drinking right now. So
if you only had a week to live, would you not?
I know it's a question because I mean, yes, I do have a few bottles of those left, but that stuff doesn't age. And
well, neither do you.
No, but I also have bottles of wine that are a lot more expensive than that, which do age.
Yes, there is a window for wine.
And I have a feeling that the saving for a special vacation, saving for a special occasion tag.
The end of the world would be a special occasion.
The end of the world is definitely a special occasion. It's something that'd be worth drinking that wine.
You'll invite your good friends and podcast hosts over.
I was going to say I'd be sending texts to Dvorak saying, "Just finish this bottle."
And you can't have any.
Well, he's got his own. Believe me, he's got plenty of wine for his last week,
which is good. You want to be prepared.
He's a hoarder.
It's a whole different type of prepping.
Wine. Well, some people probably would choose to just be in a week-long stupor on alcohol, and go that route as well.
It is an interesting concept because this was kind of the bottom line of a series we just watched with Kristen. What's her name in it? The one
Bell?
Kristen Bell. Yes. The Good Place.
Did you finish it? I haven't seen the last season.
Yes. In the last season, it was weird. It was a Netflix season. So Netflix picked it up.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did not either until the beginning of every episode. All of a sudden, it was a Netflix production. So, I mean, I don't want to give you spoilers, but
don't give me the last season.
The main thing that one of the concepts was, well, life is only worth the value we put on it because you know that it ends, which then makes heaven kind of an interesting concept because that's eternal life.
It's worthless.
Right. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah. Well, that show, I love the premise. I thought the first season was good.
Yes.
And then I thought they ran out of ideas.
Then
they're just like, okay, what else can we cover in philosophy here?
Yes. They rallied for the final season, I believe, but they did have a couple of hiccups along the way.
Okay. Well, I'll probably watch it at some point because it is an interesting show. I think Kristen Bell's got horrible politics, but I've always enjoyed watching her on the screen.
She's spunky. She's cute.
She's one of those spunky girls. It's not a girl. What's she, like 40 now?
Right. But to you, I mean, that's just a girl.
No, believe me, 23 years old is a girl.
There's always that age limit for you.
Yeah, I remember when Kristen Bell was that age. Yes, indeed.
Well, yeah, that was
not that long ago.
Well, it just seems like yesterday we were watching the Veronica Mars, which she was right about that age. And
yeah, she was like 20 playing a teenager.
And that was a lot better of a series than I thought it would be because I had heard the name over and over again. And
it always stupid, right?
Yeah, it seems like, this is going to be like a Nancy Drew type
or something.
Thing. Well, yeah, I've never seen that, but I did not give it a whole lot of thought until Bandrew from the Bandrew Says podcast was talking about it. I'm like, I'll try it. And then we went through this thing pretty quick and was like, okay, that was a pretty impressive series.
So you didn't watch it live when it was on?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
Just watched the whole series like a month or so ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I watched it when it was first shown.
Which is that it was very weird going into The Good Place because it's like, Veronica got old.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. But that's okay. We all get old. Either that or that we don't have as much fun.
Well, that's what kids do.
Yes.
And then she also, I don't know, is she still married to Dax or did they get divorced?
No, they're still married.
Are they? Okay. Yeah. Well, I remember they were having some troubles.
He seems to make an appearance in all of the series that she does now.
There is a lot of that in Hollywood in general. They like to do the little spousal guest appearance things.
Got to do the pop in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I always thought Dax was pretty good. You remember where he came from?
I just remember him in that the series, The Family. What was it? The
Serious Family?
No, not the. It was a series with the the chick from Bad Santa, go come fuck me Santa, that girl, she was in there. The father was the guy from Coach.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's okay.
Are you talking about The Ranch?
No, I have not seen The Ranch.
The Ranch is really good. I like The Ranch.
The dressing or the show?
Not the dressing. No, I like blue cheese better.
Oh, definitely. Totally blue cheese. I never understand people that are always like, I put ranch on my pizza. I put ranch on this. I put ranch on this. Craig T. Nelson. Yes, Blue Douche. But what was the name of that show? But you're absolutely right. I can't stand ranch. I love blue cheese.
Good. So you would go buy some blue cheese on your last week on Earth?
Probably would. I love throwing some crumbled blue cheese on a salad.
I buy feta all the time.
Oh, dude, feta's awesome.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good for you, too.
Feta and black olive pizza is awesome.
Ah, yes. That's a good combo. I put a little spinach on there, too, but that's good.
It's not blue cheese 33. It's blue douche 33. It's close, though. In the
blue cheese 33.
We're doing these shows live now, at least for the next few weeks on Friday mornings, 9 a.m. Central. At least that's the plan.
How would they even know if it's live? It could be pre-recorded.
You could pre-record, yes.
Yeah, and you could make comments about people in the troll room that aren't even there.
And then just hope they're there. Otherwise,
it doesn't really matter because no one knows whether or not they're there.
Except for the people that are there. Those people would be like,
those people would have a fun time trying to figure things out.
They're like, are these guys high or stupid?
Are they on a different live stream thing, chat deal that Sir Gene wasn't permabanned from or something?
Yes. Parenthood was the name of that show. Okay. That's better now. I'm starting to have the Sir Gene memory lapses. So,
well, that'll happen as soon as you get up to about 85, 90.
Yeah. That's not good. I'm going to start
noticing that.
You take the B12, man.
I think it's all the B's that you want to take.
All the
1
B's?
through 24.
There's that many B's? Oh, my God.
I don't know, but I've seen a lot of B's. I mean, there's quite a few of those.
Does Amazon have them all?
There's at least 12, right? But I think there's more than 12.
I would assume.
Yeah, I'm sure Amazon can help you out in that regard. They're good about selling non-drugs.
Let's see. What hasn't Dax Shepard been in? He was in My Name is Earl. I don't remember. He was in one episode of that. But he started off on that show with Demi Moore's ex-husband. Bruce Willis?
No, the other one.
How many ex-husbands does Demi Moore have?
2.
Who's the other one? I didn't know.
The young kid. What's his name?
Austin. Austin. The one that's married to Mila Kunis. See, I remember her.
Yeah. That one. Yes.
She's
the Mila Kunis husband that used to be the Demi Moore husband. He had a show where he pranked people.
Ashton Kutcher. Yes.
Yeah. Ashton.
Punk.
He's from Iowa.
And Dax is from Michigan.
And Dax was like a performer. I think he was uncredited at first even, but I guess they were buddies or whatever. And so he was one of the guys in that show where they pranked people as like the extra guy, usually a lot of times.
And so that was his career was made.
Foray into Hollywood Millionaires Club.
Started with that and then married a cute blonde who also has money. I mean, you can't go wrong with that theory.
First, he married a old brunette who had money.
Well, Ashton.
Oh.
I was talking about Dax.
Oh, yeah, Dax. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, either way.
I think they met. Didn't they meet in that movie about Costco or something?
There's a movie about Costco?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called. It was a crappy movie, but if I'm right, I think that's where they met. But it was basically about this Costco employee
employee of the month. Oh my!
Yeah,
that was Jessica Simpson and Dax Shepard.
Oh, different blonde, but we figured out his taste there anyway.
I don't know from being in a movie if that really says it's his taste, but okay.
Well, yeah, he probably did her.
The first review on IMDb for that movie is surprisingly good.
That's generous.
Do not believe the reviews you read online.
No, most of them are coming from Indonesia or Philippines.
It doesn't matter where they're coming from. The fact that they're paid.
Yeah, they're paid. That's what I was trying to get to.
Although I use the online reviews every now and then Like I needed to get a suit for my nephew's wedding. And the last time I bought a suit was, I don't know when. It's been a long time. And when you're 6'6", and I could use
off the rack, baby.
It's hard to get those things off the rack. And
yes,
I looked at the reviews, which is for the Men's Warehouse in the town over, which is where they're renting all the tuxes and stuff from. And the reviews were so bad for the Men's Warehouse that I went about another half hour further away for a shop that I used to go to when I was a kid. And perfect, man. I was in and out in like 15 minutes. It was a beautiful thing.
And when do you get the suit?
I've got it. Just need to have the tack up the hem, on the.
Oh, they didn't. So you didn't get a like fitted.
They had the sizing. They had all the sizes you need right there, which is a beautiful thing.
So let's see. Are you 6'6"? You said,
yeah.
So you're like what? Like I think
it was like
48 long.
I think it was. Yeah, 48. Was it 48 or 50? I think it might have popped up to the 50 just because the shoulders were a little tight.
Yeah, I'm just going off of my mental powers here.
Well, the guy was pretty good, too.
Confirm to the people that we've never met.
Yes, we have never met. And
I just guessed your suit size. Perfect.
In real life. But it was nice. It was nice to be able to get in.
Just in your imagination. I used to have a store like that. All the stores I used to go to when I was young are closed now, unfortunately. But it was nice to have a store you could go buy suits from. Because I wore suits for decades. Like, that was a standard thing. If you were a man, you wore a suit.
Yes. Well, I mean, on Bill O'Reilly show, I know you hate when I bring up Bill, but he wears a suit when he does his little video show every night. He doesn't have to. He didn't used to. But when the first TV picked it up, he wore just the, was much more casual like we would be if somebody turned a camera on now. But there is a difference.
Tracksuit. You just wore a tracksuit.
Yes, an Adidas tracksuit. There is a difference in presentation if you're seeing somebody. I mean, I would probably, and this is a bias, I understand that, and most likely meaningless, but if Tim Pool wore a suit up. and not the beanie, I mean, maybe the beanie with the suit would even work. I don't know. But maybe there would be a different impression, because you do when you see somebody, the suit, because we've been so ingrained with that, especially watching any kind of news for our whole lives, the male people on the news almost always wear suits. And you give them a certain amount of credibility because of that.
I think for the current, certainly for the Zoomers, and even to a large extent for the millennials, they look at a suit exactly the same way that maybe you and I would look at a car mechanic's uniform.
Right. It's
quaint, but looks uncomfortable.
Yes, and it's just a uniform. It's not.
It is a uniform. It's always been a uniform, though. But it's now, I think, it's a minority uniform. It used to be a majority uniform.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. And I don't like wearing suits.
Well, kind of like men used to wear hats when they were outdoors all the time. And I don't mean baseball caps. I mean
the
like
fedoras
nice hats.
And even the straw hats back in the
straw hats
or whatever.
White brims, yeah.
It was when fashion, I mean, you look at some of these.
People took a bath once a week.
If you were lucky. But some of these restored videos and photos that I've seen from like 100 years ago in New York, you see everybody is wearing, the men are all wearing suits and hats.
Oh, you got that YouTube suggestion too?
A while ago. But it was amazing what they've done, because that was the same.
They've corrected everything. Yeah.
Well, it was the same video technology, I believe, that they used in the Beatles Get Back documentary to make the really old footage.
Right. And I think they kind of did that in the Titanic, although that was the early version of that technology.
Yes. And it's amazing when you look at that and you're like, oh, yeah, that's it's a completely different world. And I don't know if it's better or worse, because
they don't look like cartoon people when everything is moving at 60 frames and full color. And
right.
Yeah.
It's really kind of cool.
And I think that's what you start realizing, is that people haven't really changed in 10,000 years. And I've read that somewhere. I don't know if it's true or not, but I distinctly remember reading this, that they said if you took a person that was alive 10,000 years ago and you brought them to today, they would have exactly the same IQ as most people do today. In fact, it might be higher because they haven't been dumbed down.
Right.
So
they do not rely on their phones for all of the information.
From a biological standpoint, there is really no difference whatsoever between humans 10,000 years ago and today, other than nutrition. So we're a little taller and a little wider.
We have nuclear weapons.
Well, I mean, the humans themselves, not the stuff around them. That's changed greatly. I mean, my God, the differences between even 20 or 30 years ago. 30 years ago, nobody was on the internet.
Nobody had a flat screen TV, man.
Yeah, I mean, the closest you get is the Sony Trinitron, which was curved, but only in one direction.
I remember those big tube sets. You needed like 18 people to move one.
Yeah, they were heavy.
Not quite what you have now.
Gigantic vacuum chamber inside. And
technology moves on.
Yeah. No, there's a lot. And I remember I had a rear projection big screen.
Still do.
I don't think they make those anymore.
I think they make a few. I don't know how. Ours is probably 10 years old now.
I'm not
it was
sure
a DLP
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, DLP. Yeah, sure. But I remember the first ones were CRT. So this is, I'm talking like back in the 80s.
Oh, right.
So you could get a big screen for your house, and it was super dim.
Yes.
And it was basically like having 3 black and white small TVs that were all pointed at a mirror with a color filter in front of it.
Yes.
And then that would bounce off the back of the TV onto the front projection screen. And it was perfectly adequate for evenings. You know, it just wasn't all that great during the daytime. But it looked fine because your signal was just 480p. I mean, that's literally what people lived with for, since the 1940s?
Right.
When we first, I'm trying to remember when we got TV.
That is what my dad had. It was a 40-inch or something like that. It was not stereo when it came
was
out.
Considered huge. And I've got a bigger one than that on my desk right now as a monitor.
Well, and you could lift them with one hand now. They're so light.
Yeah.
But I remember opening that thing up, taking the screen out, and there were the 3 different color bulbs that were projecting the stuff up onto the to a mirror, which then went onto the screen, which meant every now and then you did have to clean. It was always fun when like a spider or something got inside the TV because it was like, oh my God, what's in there?
Yeah. So would you like one of those on your last week on Earth?
No, I don't think so. Although I do like
checking.
I do like the retro tech. I mean, every now and then, I'm sure I would get tired of it within moments or maybe hours, depending on the software that was provided with it. But I had a Trash 80 color computer and an Apple IIe back in the day. And every now and then you'll long for a little bit of that. Like, I remember what that was kind of like. It wasn't so bad. Although if I were to look at that now, I'd be like, well, wait, I can't podcast from this. What good is this?
You know, what else wasn't so bad was a Macintosh that only had a 9-inch screen.
Oh, well, that was the Lisa, right? Was that?
No, that was the
first Mac.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's
tiny.
It's not really good by today's standards.
I was never good by anybody's standards. I was bitching about the size of that screen pretty much from day one.
I couldn't figure out why. I still can't. That the Apple Lisa, if you have one of those working in and with the original box now, they're worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
They should be. There's very few of them manufactured.
So it's all just about
cheap.
Scarcity.
They were not cheap back then because a Mac, when that first came out, was I think $2,600 or $2,800. And the Lisa, which kind of flubbed when it came out before the Mac, the Mac was the sort of like, okay, this didn't work, let's build something else, and that became the Mac. The Lisa, I want to say they were selling for $5,900.
That seems about right. My buddy Bruce had one in high school.
Wow.
And I should track him down and be like, you still got that in your basement or something? Because you might want to sell that baby. I got rid of the Apple years ago, got a couple $100 for it. Probably nowhere near what you could get for that today.
Yeah, probably, but I don't know, man. It's I've never been particularly nostalgic about old technology. I've always upgraded. I shot film for many, many years and could not wait to move to digital.
Oh, come on. You don't pull out the old Walkman now and then, put a little Billy Ocean cassette in and be like, Caribbean Queen. I can see you doing that.
I have no idea. I probably threw away my Walkman like 30 years ago or something. Like, okay, CDs are here. I don't need this piece of shit anymore. Although I had a really nice Walkman. I had the Sony waterproof yellow one.
I did too. That was awesome, except the earbuds were so uncomfortable.
They tended to make your ears feel pain.
Yes.
They were in the wrong angles, I think is the problem.
Yes, they're like straight.
We'll just straighten out your ears to match the earbuds.
That was no bueno.
That was a very good Walkman, decent battery life on that thing as well. But yeah, as soon as CDs came out, I just switched instantly.
Yeah, I needed the Walkman. That was for the mile walk to the school bus and then for the ride to school. I needed the Walkman.
Well, that's what it was for. It was for the walk.
And it was. It worked. It was a beautiful thing. Yeah. And if you really had a lot of money, you could have the Walkman with the microphones that you could record and then become a bootlegger.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that tape stuff. I just never liked tape a whole lot.
Then CDs came and then CDs went and then vinyl came back. And I saw an article the other day that forget vinyl, CDs are on a resurgence. I'm like, I don't believe that for a minute.
I remember when I bought my first CD recorder, that would have been 1993. It was $5,000 and it recorded at 1X.
Ooh.
And it was super sensitive to if you bumped the desk it was sitting on, the CD was ruined. So you had to get you had to get to a point where you're going to be not doing anything for a while and just leave the computer alone to make the disc. And you know what? It was actually $39.99. It was not $5,000. It was $4,000. But still, it's just crazy amount of money for what it did.
Well, yeah, because the unfortunate thing is I learned, and I haven't gone through even a decent percentage as of yet, but I had a bunch of stuff because as I do now, I collect a lot of live music. And once it became available online, there's different torrent sites, especially for people only trading live music. Hard drive space was expensive.
Sounds like illegal activities you're describing there.
Allegedly. But no, the bands that allow this kind of stuff, like the Grateful Dead, Todd Snyder, there's bands that allow it. And I put a lot of that stuff onto CDRs. And when I went and tried to pull the stuff back off the CDRs, probably 10 to 20% of them are unreadable. So
yeah. Well, they are plastic.
They're plastic. They used very cheap ink. They use stuff that is photosensitive that even if it's in a dark room will wear out to the point to where the players cannot read them. So if anybody has some memories on those recordable CDs or DVDs.
I've got a whole bunch of those. I should check and see if any of them are readable. The problem is I don't even have a CD reader anymore.
There you go. That's hard. I still have our wedding video on Super VHS. So, I mean, there's that.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I could digitize that, but that's probably...
Well, that tape eventually starts to crumple.
Yeah. But, you pay a lot of money for that stuff or you'll never watch it.
Yeah, wedding videos are not exactly the top of the charts there.
No. Unless anybody wants to...
Hey, would you like to watch the most stressful day I ever had up to that point in my life? Here, let me pop that in for you. You'll love it.
We can put that down as a premium if you donate. Share the wedding video. I've heard of worse ideas.
Yeah. So, would you rewatch that wedding video on your last week on Earth?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Exactly.
I mean, it might be different if my wife was dead, although then the question now becomes, would I spend the last week on Earth with my wife? Or
well, probably not at that point.
Gene's like, I'm out of here, man.
I mean, honestly, I don't know that the wife question's even necessarily there. It's your last week, and who knows if it's hers.
Well, if it's your last week, you
spend it with whoever you want.
You can make it her last week. I mean, I'm just saying, if it's your last week.
Whoa, we do not give murder advice on this show.
We don't give any kind of advice.
No, there's no advice given. We don't take or give advice here.
DigiGuru says, I have to see Idiocracy.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't watched, there's probably a list of movies that we could recommend and give advice on to watch on your last week
on your last week on Earth, right? I mean, if you're going to be watching movies,
would be on that list. Another one I would definitely put on the list is Brazil. That was a great movie. I remember, Terry Gilliam's a little nuts, but he does make good movies. In fact, 12 Monkeys I would add to that list as well. It's another one of his.
See, I've gotten against movies. I've gone, which is probably, again, a strange choice. I've gone mainly to television because movies I see as way too short.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
You Absolutely. Don't get as engaged. It's for most. I mean, it's interesting because
a movie is a short story.
Yes, and
a TV show is a book.
I'm more long form. Because, I mean, it's funny because when movies get to be like 3 hours, people are like, oh, my God, this is so long.
Yeah.
But then again, you'll watch something.
12 hours
right,
of Tiger King.
Right. You'll binge that and be like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I just don't get the movies thing. It's like I don't want to get invested. You're absolutely right. It's the short story version.
Short story.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad television as well. So,
well, the issue used to be, and this changed with streaming, really, led by Netflix probably 10 years ago. But I'll even go before that. So before Netflix, HBO was really the first place that started moving towards high-end serials like The Sopranos.
Right.
So
Entourage.
Yeah, that was after Sopranos. But it's the problem is if you go back too far, like let's say 30 years, all the TV shows sucked. And the reason for that was that a movie might have a budget, like again, 30 years ago, a budget of 100 million. That's for a good movie, or maybe 50 million for a cheaper movie that they wanted to take a chance on. But a TV show would have to do 24 hours. And they would have a smaller budget than that. So you'd actually have to create more content, have more storyline, still pay all the actors, and you're creating 24 episodes, which are, they're not an hour long. They're like, 46 minutes long, whatever they are for
it varies depending on your commercial.
Yeah. So, but either way, let's say around 24 episodes, so 18 hours of content, and your budget is like 20 million instead of 50 or 100 million. So naturally, TV shows used to be differentiated from films by the quality of production, quality of acting, quality in general. But right now, when the budgets are huge for TV series, like I remember, I think it was in was it the late 70s or 1980 when the original Battlestar Galactica came out?
I think 79.
79,
it only lasted like a year or two.
Yeah, I know, right? But part of the reason it only lasted a year is that show, when it came out, was the highest budget TV show ever made at just over $1 million per episode.
Well, yeah, because they saw what Star Wars did in the movies.
And they want to capitalize the hell out of it.
We could do that. And then it was a very weird concept because Battlestar Galactica couldn't figure out if it was a show for kids or a show for adults. And
well, I think that that's exactly right. It was competing forces because the network wanted it to be a kids show, but the production wanted it to be an adult show.
And that didn't work out.
No.
They didn't have the same vision. DigiGuru says you have excellent taste in movies, and Wet Fart wants to know who the low talking guy is now talking to me, the low your
that's
deep voice.
That's clearly me now.
Yeah, you've got the deep. That's why you wanted to do the early show. You're like, I need to pull into low bass in my face jeans. But I don't know.
It only lasts about 2 hours and then it goes away and I go high.
Hence the 9 a.m. starting time. But I don't know if I'm watching movies on my last week, although I guess a good binging every now and then. And it's interesting because my parents just binged all of 24.
I still never seen that.
So it's a great series. I mean, there were better seasons than others, but overall a very solid series. But it shows that this binging concept is not just a younger demographic kind of thing either.
Are you calling yourself younger?
Younger is compared to some, but it's not like it's something that is only done by people under 30 or under 50 or under 70. It's just a weird concept for a lot of people still. I remember 24 was the first show where, beyond repeats, for shows that I'd already seen, okay, you'd buy the box and maybe you'd binge, but for a first run, hadn't seen show, 24, once we realized what the concept was, which wasn't hard because they were very clear about it, the wife and I decided just to avoid the whole first season of 24 until it was over, bought the DVDs, and binged it in a weekend. And that's the first time I remember doing something like that.
Did you take 24 hours straight to watch it?
It's actually less because without commercials.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's taken out, and then you could skip the little intro because I think that was still at a time where they were wasting, 60 seconds, which is the most interesting thing on old television shows. The ones that give like 90 seconds every episode for the opening scenes.
Like Dallas or Love Boat.
Right. And now it's just like, done. And you're into the show because you got to get into the show. But I like old TV. My wife can't understand why some of the stuff that I watch, because the free Hulu channel that you just pop on and they've got different stuff. They had a couple of the seasons of Silver Spoons on. Which
oh no, you were watching Silver Spoons?
Only
just for Aaron Gray?
Aaron Gray, yes. I mean, that's the only, I think it's the only reason I watched when I was a kid. And it's also the only reason to watch
Aaron
now.
Gray was, I think she was in a lot of male kids' imaginations.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially after Buck Rogers.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like, holy crap. Yes, please.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing an interview with her where she talked about those jumpers and Buck Rogers, and like they were not just skin tight, they were like tighter than your skin.
They would have, they looked painted on
her. Yeah, absolutely. And I think they looked pretty painted on everybody. I mean, even the guys there. Like,
I wasn't paying as close attention to Gil Gerard, but
they were. Well, you weren't just there to watch Tweaky?
Tweaky was awesome with Dr. what's his name that was around his neck. The little computerized thing. But Tweaky was great because it was you're to believe that. I mean, think about the year that Buck Rogers was supposed to be.
2381.
And the best robot that they have talks like beady. What's up, Buck? It's like come on. They missed that a little bit.
He was clearly talking modem.
Dr. Theopolis. Thanks, Blue News.
Theopolis. Yeah, very good. And then I think he was voiced by Mel Blanc, if I remember.
I could see that. What? That's all, folks.
Yeah.
Voice actors. It's a good gig. I noticed that when looking through the IMDb listing for Kristen Bell, has done a ton of voice work.
Yeah, she's got a peculiar voice.
Well, yeah, because the voice is little like she is. I mean, it's a very, unlike the Dame Jennifer Buchanan, who has the sultry voice. Kristen Bell has a voice that's still, when she plays like a Disney princess, you can still believe she's like 16.
Yeah.
It's a youthful voice, unlike yours, which is the voice of wisdom. 16. Right, she is about the same height. Right. Yeah, that's true too. Which helps, I guess. It's all a part of your instrument.
Yeah. Well, Mila Kunis has done voice work as well for.
Oh yeah, stuff. Family Guy.
Yeah, that one. She's had that gig for what, 20 years?
Yeah, it's one of those shows people still can't believe are on. Like, I'm still surprised, kind of, that South Park is still on.
Well, it's kind of on. It's basically they just spit out a season whenever they feel like it, but it's not. There's no standardization to it.
but they're still releasing stuff. It's like the shows that will never die, which I get. That's the beauty of animation.
But these are both shows where the creators have made so much money that they can now afford to do the show that nobody watches.
Right. That's kind of like what we're doing here, isn't it?
I still kind of made enough money to do a show that nobody listens to.
Right.
I think we're just doing the latter part without the former.
Right. Were we supposed to make money first?
Well, to do a show that nobody listens, yes, you're supposed to make money first, then do that show.
Oh, I mean, I'll make
it's a labor of love. What can I say? I mean, that's the main reason that I do these shows is because I just really enjoy
talking to me. I know. I appreciate that, Gene.
Talking mostly to myself, and if somebody's on the other side, that's fine too.
I cannot see anybody on this show with me besides you. I think that is without a doubt.
Because I could totally see Bemrose on the other side of the mic.
The other day I saw that the Wilson sisters of the rock band Heart are having a bit of a disagreement. They had are having one about the live band or whatever the concept was. So, Anne, I think I'm getting this right. But either way, one of them decided they're just going to go out and tour without the other.
Oh, nice.
It's like, okay, if they can do it, anybody can do it. If one of the Wilson sisters can go, screw the other one, I'm going out on tour and calling it Heart, then,
this is what happens when people don't have contracts and they don't contractually decide how the ownership is actually held and who gets to do what. And they just like, we're sisters. We don't care. We'll never fight.
Right.
And that's how you end up with two hearts.
Whoa.
Whoa. And that's a Doctor Who joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bum.
Hello.
I'm still trying to get through the thousands of pages of documents you sent me, the non-disclosure and all this other stuff. I mean, was I supposed to sign
once you sign that, then we'll actually start doing the real show.
Gotcha. Then the perfect.
I mean, I don't mind doing this prep stuff, but, at some point, maybe you'll finish reading it all.
Yeah, it's not easy. It is not easy. But I don't know. The whole final week of life thing.
Yeah.
I think people would be way too stressed out. It's not like you have there's it's weird. And I'm starting to mumble like Joe Biden, but it's weird that if somebody were just to say to you, you can have a week to do anything you want, what would you do? Putting you're dying at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people are going to be freaking out that whole week because it's like, I'm going to die in a week.
Well, we're all going to die. What's the difference?
Knowing the date is the difference. Well, knowing the date.
Okay, so have you ever thought something would happen and then the date was wrong?
Yes. Is that possible here?
That's called life.
Is that possible? I can go for more than a week?
No, it's not.
See, then that's not the same thing.
Well, it kind of is because let's say it's your week and you're like, oh, I don't know, it's only got a week and you get hit by a truck tomorrow.
Oh, but here's the other important thing. If we're in this magical thing where we know that I'm going to die in, say, 7 days from today.
Yeah, it's 6:04 p.m.
Could is there anything I could do? Is there anything I could do in the interim that would cause my early demise? Because if I know I'm invincible for the next week. Yeah,
absolutely. No, you're definitely not invincible, man.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
You can get hit by a truck in 5 minutes here.
That's no
truck
fun.
Could go right through your basement.
Wouldn't that suck? Hey, you've only got a week to live. Oh, my God, that sucks. And then boom. Yeah.
Yeah, that would actually be a funny movie I would watch.
Then a plane crashes into your house. Like, damn.
Yeah. You can make a whole movie out of basically, it's like this angel type character comes down and says, hey, I got bad news. You only got a week to live. And so you got to make the most of it. And then right after, a guy gets hit by a truck and then all of a sudden he's back on the earth. The angel's like, yeah, sorry, that wasn't supposed to happen. But seriously, you only got a week left. And then, something else happens that kills him. The whole movie is basically this character being told he's got a week left and he keeps dying in one day.
Like instantaneously. Yeah.
So it's like a combination of Groundhog Day and, what's a movie where people die all the time? I'm trying to think.
I don't know. They would just keep being rebooted. Which was
Avengers.
Which was the show. The Good Place was they kept rebooting the people.
Oh, yeah, The Good Place. It's like a mix of The Good Place with Groundhog's Day.
Let's put this together. Does anybody have
money?
Well, yeah,
Look,
money.
We just need $100 million
and a connection with the network.
Although, yeah, exactly.
I guess why do we need the network? We can stream this baby.
Oh, we could totally stream it.
Somebody get a hold of Adam Curry and John C. Dvorak. See if they want to expand a little bit into this.
We can get Kristen Bell for this thing. I know exactly how I'll write her part.
How would you write her part?
Well, the angel will be played by a like a 6'6" kind of chubby guy.
So me.
And then Kristen Bell's love interest will be played by a 114-year-old extremely handsome man.
Oh, so you.
So I'm thinking this might actually be a good. Okay, so that's what I'd do my last week. I'd write a script.
Interesting that you would want to be Kristen Bell's love interest because she is over 23.
She is over 23, but I think for her I'd make an exception.
Net says this basically sounds like OnlyFans the movie.
We got a title.
Right.
Okay, working title, OnlyFans the movie. Now we just have to make sure we buy the rights to the term OnlyFans from OnlyFans to use in the movie.
Which, again, we need money.
Which has nothing to do with OnlyFans.
Can Jeff Bezos send us a check, please? That would be nice. That poor guy.
Oh, we can crowdfund it. We could totally crowdfund it. We'll use, what's that website? Give me $5 or whatever.
Fiverr? Yeah.
Give me
$5.
What's the website that everybody sent Canadian truckers money with?
Oh, well, there's a
GoFundMe. Just do GoFundMe.
Kickstarter. You can do a Kickstarter.
I mean, what's it take to really get some money out of people on GoFundMe? All you got to do is just write a good story, right?
Write a sob story or a get-rich-quick scheme, one or the other. That's kind of what works on the internet.
A producer and use it on IMDb. It's a real title. We'll even vouch for you. Hey, there we go. I think that would be all we need to write on GoFundMe to raise money to do this movie with Kristen Bell.
I like this idea. And she is stranger to raising that kind of cash. That's how they made the Veronica Mars movie.
We can totally use her name to raise the money so we can afford to hire her.
I mean, she could sue us, but she really can't beat us up. So there's
but there's only a week left. So what's the difference?
There's only That's they don't know there's only a week left.
No, because it's a movie within the movie. Like we could do a whole Inception bit at the end that just shows that this person dying prematurely over and over and over was all like an Inception thing. And in real life, this is what he saw as he was about to die.
It's a movie.
See?
Within a movie.
I'm writing the script right now in my head.
Within a movie.
Yeah.
Within a movie.
Exactly.
You just have to peel the layers.
Yeah. I like this. This is good. This is good. This is definitely a thing.
People will support quality entertainment, which is why we work on the value for value model.
That's why we've never made any money. Exactly.
Right. No, that's not true. We have some people that came in today to support the show, as a matter of fact. We can do that now. And thank you.
You want to do that in the middle of the show? Okay, go for it.
Why not? I mean, doing it at the end seems so much like it's at tack on.
Yes, we should do it as the first thing.
Yes, thanking people for giving us their time.
$5 they gave us.
Their talent, their treasure. Ben Sterling today came in with $10 So came in with $51.99, which was really nice because when PayPal takes the fees out, it was $50. So I'm guessing.
Oh wow!
There's that little button now. I think on the PayPal forms.
Pay for the fees,
right? Yeah. Do you want to help these poor podcasters by taking the fees on? Which is beautiful when people do that.
Yeah, it is.
And Ben Sterling, we appreciate that. $51.99. Chew the Kookie came in with $10 on a check, which is good. And he splits that between this show, Planet Rage .show that I do with Larry Bleidner, Random Thoughts, RANDUMB Thoughts.com, my solo show, and the Rock and Roll Pre-Show, the best pre-show in the universe available on the No Agenda stream.
Well, I do have to say that I think it's great that Ben gave some money, but just as a little hint, Ben and I are going to start a podcast shortly.
You're going to start a podcast what?
Shortly, soon.
Oh, very nice. What's it going to be called? Pimp It Out.
Pimp It Out. Well,
no, it's not called Pimp It Out. That would be a different podcast.
It's called Sir Gene Speaks with Ben Sterling.
So you're using the Adam Curry model of just putting your name in and then adding whoever else after.
Well, more importantly, I'm using a product that I already pay for to do the podcast. But I'm really looking forward to it because and for people that that have heard Ben already, they were asking for more Ben, and that's what I'm going to do. We're going to have a show we're going to start doing on a regular basis.
Ben, was this the Power Ben?
Ben, the dude named Ben.
Ben, the dude named Ben of the Power Grid Ben.
Yeah, let's just call him Ben for anonymity's sake, because that's what he is.
He's Ben, the dude named Ben. Well, you should have said, "Don't say my last name." Nobody heard it then.
No. But I think the name he gave was a fake one anyway.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
It's it is going to be happening soon. We've talked about it. We just haven't actually recorded the first episode yet.
Recording the shows is the most important part.
Incidentally, the way that it came about is exactly the way that you and I started working together on this.
Oh, wait. So he had another podcast that somebody just walked out and left him hanging?
No. If you recall, we started talking on the phone for about an hour, maybe even longer.
Oh, wait. Okay. So this is what happens. Anybody that you talk to long enough is like,
hey,
I should at least get a podcast out of this. If you're going to call
this is a waste of good material. Let's get the record button in here.
Yes.
Yeah. So the same thing happened with dude named Ben here. And it was like, hey, we ought to be doing the show. And I know people like listening to you, so let's do it. So he was, I think, he was kind of a little cautious when he was our guest, but I think he realized that there's literally nothing to this. It's like talking on the phone.
Because it is exactly like talking on the phone.
Yeah, with exactly the same number of listeners.
Well, I don't
sometimes.
Know. See, I don't know. Your phone line at this point, there's CIA, FBI, KGB.
Believe me, it is the same number. Believe me.
There's a lot of people listening, whether you're putting it out there to the rest of the world or not. Mm-hmm. That'll be fun. I can't wait to hear that. He had a lot of good insights.
Yeah.
A lot of good stories.
So it'll mostly be a cooking show. So looking forward to that.
Cooking explosives, crystal meth.
I was thinking more like venison, but okay.
Oh, well, that works too.
Yeah, I had some venison burgers yesterday. Still doing the meat thing, the meat diet.
All meat, meat, and nothing but meat.
Mostly meat. I wouldn't say I'm not as strict as I was last time I did it. I'm eating cheese.
Well, that's definitely not meat.
And I am eating eggs.
Also not meat.
But it's all animal products.
So you're just not really avoiding all vegetables is what you're saying here.
It's basically the diet that I think I created for myself when I was about 5 years old.
You're like, this would be awesome.
This would be the perfect diet.
If I could just eat grilled cheese with bacon on it all day, every day.
Yeah.
And
sourdough. Put some egg on top.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, the only way to have a true, proper burger, whether venison or beef or whatever, you have to put the fried egg on top.
Yeah. In Austin, you do, because they automatically put it on there.
Okay, so Austin, congratulations. I didn't know that.
It is an Austin thing. Like, there is an option for grilled egg on top of anything.
That is
ribs,
the way to
you
do
want
it.
Some ribs? You want,
okay, barbecue. That's an interesting one. Barbecued ribs and throw a couple eggs on top.
Yeah. So it is it's I don't know. I mean, it's still kind of carnivore-ish. It's definitely very high keto diet, but it's you just avoid all the vegetables and fruits and sugars. Anything that has carbs is not a good thing.
Right. Which is the hardest thing for me originally to wrap my brain around, was trying to go keto and then like, well, I could just have I could have a salad for lunch. And then you look at how many carbs are in a bag of salad.
Yeah, and certainly no dressing.
Which is horrible.
Yeah.
And also the keto dressings are horrible.
Oh, they're horrible. They're absolutely horrible. The only thing you could do with keto is like a vinaigrette, which is just oil and vinegar. There's not any really carbs in that.
Just nice and simple.
Fat. And you can't use apple vinegar because that does have carbs. You have to use just the regular old white vinegar. But you could do that. You could do, salt, pepper, as long as you don't eat too much pepper, because pepper does have carbs. But I don't know. I mostly just like, eat once a day, sometimes twice, but mostly once.
And I only eat once a day, but that lasts between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. But it's only once a day.
You did that joke already last time.
It was a good joke.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it was a good joke.
Yeah, clearly enough to do it twice.
The troll room
and not even wait between episodes.
If you're eating the bones too, he might. He's got one of these blenders that would blend anything.
Yes, yeah. Well, okay. So this is another distinction from my diet because I'm not eating fruits or vegetables except for lemons.
And the lemons, you're eating a full lemon at a time, or are you making the paste or the goo like that cardiologist video you
Yeah, it's like the cardiologist video. So it's basically what I'm making is I'm taking a lemon and I, wash it beforehand because I'm going to eat the whole thing. Not doing anything to it. I'm not cutting it open or anything. I'm just putting it into the blender and then blending the lemon into a smoothie with a cup of water because you got to have some liquid in there to get the process going. So it's basically a lemon with the skin, the rind, the juice, the seeds, everything blended into a smoothie texture. So it's just like drinking a smoothie. It is amazingly better tasting than you would think. Certainly than I thought before I first tried it. Because
the rind and everything, I bet it tones it down.
But here's the thing: that like if you just peel a lemon and you take a little piece of rind and chew on it, it's god awful, right? It's horrible tasting.
Yeah.
What you don't realize is that once you take that little bit of rind that's in the lemon and you add a whole bunch of lemon juice to it and some other, stuff from the skin, which the skin, I guess, has the most oils and different nutrients in it. That really tones down the rind flavor to where you can barely taste it. And in fact, the rind just is a nice complement because it adds a little bit of that bitterness to what otherwise would have been fairly acidic.
Certainly, Mofo wants to know if the seeds are bad.
No, the seeds are not poisonous or anything. There's nothing like apple seeds they have a little bit of cyanide in them. So unless you're trying to do cyanide training, which may not be a bad thing for people to do, but unless you're doing that, don't eat apple seeds or pear seeds or apricot seeds. There's a few other seeds you shouldn't eat, but lemon seeds you can eat absolutely. No issues there. You probably do want to make sure that they're cracked or in this case blended, because there have been some cases of seeds sprouting inside of people's appendix.
Whoa!
If they just swallowed a seed, because the humidity level and temperature are just about right.
Wow.
Tropical fruit after all.
Wow. So wait, how does the stomach acid just dissolve all that? And
seeds are hard for a reason. They're meant to not be dissolved in stomachs. Most small plants or plants that have small seeds, they rely on birds eating the fruit and then pooping the seeds out somewhere as a method of transport. So seeds are by design, or by evolution, if you prefer, they are made to be able to pass through the stomach and the intestines and get pooped out and then grow. So they're still alive in there and germinate. So I would not recommend eating seeds unless you first pulverize them.
The more you know.
And we don't give medical advice.
Of course not. But also coming in at $10, Brian Janak over on Patreon, where we're still under Grumpy Old Ben's, where it's, a thing. Because now that the locals thing is over, the experiment.
Yeah, so we talk about that? I left a note on locals. I don't think the last time you logged in was about 6 months ago.
I looked today. It wasn't 6 months ago, but I looked today.
It felt like it was 6 months ago. So you saw my note in there.
I did. And I think it pretty much said everything anybody that was on the locals page needed to know.
Yes. Do not give us any locals money at this point. So the basic deal with the locals is a lot of people were using locals that I watched. And I thought, I wonder if there's something here, if this helps build a community or not. And so when we started really, when we started Unrelenting, so before I was just simply a guest on your show, But once we started doing Unrelenting, we thought, let's try this locals thing, see if we can leverage the fact that other people are in locals and we get some migration going.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people using it for Scott Adams. There's a lot of people using it for Rakita Law. And there's, was Tim Pool on there as well?
No.
Or not one he's using. Okay.
No, Tim doesn't believe in giving other people money. He's talked a number of times. I mean, I don't say that facetiously. He's talked about this and he's like, I don't understand why anybody would use locals. I don't understand why anybody would use any of these services when you can just get WordPress and build your own damn site for $1,000.
Yeah, but he takes money through YouTube, so there's that, and they're taking 30%.
Yeah. No, he does take money through YouTube, but that's like real money. And he did say probably about 3-4 weeks ago that the money coming in from timpool.com, their private site, is now surpassed YouTube money.
I believe that,
which is great because I think he's doing about $2 million a year on YouTube.
Well, we learned on No Agenda this week on the last show. There are 2 shows a week, of course, Thursday and Sunday.
Thursday and Thursday.
Yes, the first and second Thursday of the week. Adam Curry went to the Glenn Beck compound where the Blaze TV emanates from. And I've been a Blaze TV subscriber.
Blaze Network, yes.
And I've been following Glenn long before he had the Blaze TV. I even posted the poster that's behind my desk right here with Glenn Beck. And I'm like, I like Glenn. So this is going to be a very interesting interview, Adam Curry and Glenn Beck. But Glenn told Adam that they have 1 million subscribers that are paying $100 a year.
So what is that, like
$100 million a year? So what is that?
100 million. Yeah, so 100 million, but they've got
multiple shows,
a lot of shows.
They have, so I don't know what the deals are with those people, but it's like we know.
I mean, I don't think they can afford to get Joe Rogan at that point.
The infrastructure, it doesn't cost that much. I mean, we know doing video and bandwidth isn't cheap, but when you're bringing in 100 million, what would you think the infrastructure would be? Maybe $10 million
per year? I don't think it's that much.
So even less, maybe 5 million. To have all the servers, to have everything you need, to pay all the dudes named Ben, to keep everything running. You know,
I'll bet you that for just purely services, they're probably paying like 3-4 million for the dudes named Ben. Who knows how many of them they have. So that will be probably another $1 million or $2 million.
Which still leaves you with 95 million. I mean, granted, there's taxing and all of that. But
yeah, so it leaves you with about 60 million, and I would imagine that half of that goes directly to
Glenn. And then Crowder is making a decent amount of money. But for these other people on his network, I think most people would gladly work, at that point in their careers.
And he doesn't pay very well. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say very well, but he doesn't pay outrageously, because I know one guy that went to work there, and he was one of these guys that kind of built up his own audience initially, and then they reached out to him, and he decided this would probably be worth doing, and he's not there anymore. But
because it's one of these things, it was kind of like stuff
they were offering him under $100,000 as a salary,
as somebody that was putting out content for him.
Yeah, as he was probably making around $100,000 on YouTube himself.
And they were still allowing him to do that. So that was the other part of this whole thing. Being carried on the network doesn't necessarily mean you can't monetize in other ways. Yeah. Because it's win-win.
I think that's still better than what Alex Jones is paying.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but it seems to me that it's a pretty good running operation. And who knows what the Blaze TV could charge, or how much their subscriber base would go up. I mean, you said they can't afford Rogan, and the straight off, you might say that, but the reality is, if Rogan said, I'm going there, that 1 million subscribers might turn into 2 million overnight.
Yeah, that's very true. That is totally true. There's I think a lot of these places like Rumble, said, hey, we'll offer you 100 million if you do a contract. Although they wanted to do 3 years, I think, or maybe even 4.
Yes. So now we've learned the Rogan thing is 200 million is the latest number over, was it 4 or 5 years for that Spotify contract.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, they've upped it from one where they were originally saying it was 100. They're now saying 200.
So 200. So it's real fuck you money then.
Yes. It's also real money to where he's going to Spotify. Oh, you want to censor me? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm taking the money.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's a tough thing because I think, well, there is no such thing as enough money. We've definitely established that. It really doesn't matter if you're making $40,000 a year or $400,000 a year or $4 million a year. It's you just grow into whatever that money allows.
Right.
The number of people that are sort of these what was it, Dad Next Door type millionaires? Is that the name of that book? Where they're unassuming, they drive F-150s, they wear clothes from Walmart, and they've got a portfolio worth $10 million. Is tiny. That is very, 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 very few people does that demographic represent. The majority of people that are millionaires, the majority of people that aren't even millionaires, just make good money. Like I would put lawyers into that category. It's instantly visible,
right?
How much that person has, and the way it works. We talked about suits earlier,
right? They might be wearing a Rolex,
or a Rolex, so they can trade that for gasoline. Exactly. But if you look at that over time, you kind of go from wearing T-shirts in college to wearing slightly better T-shirts, and then eventually, if you're in the right profession, you get into wearing polo shirts, and then wearing maybe shirt sleeve shirts, and then if you're in a profession like a lawyer or something in finance where there's an expectation of dressing up a little more, then you're actually buying suits. But an interesting thing happens, and this has been documented even as an example. So I think they did it accurately in the show Billions, which otherwise has been completely crappy this season, gone downhill a lot. But they had an episode where they showed the price of everybody's clothes, and I thought that was hilarious. That was very smart. It made no sense why they did it. Just somebody thought, hey, it'd be cool if we just show the price of all the clothes these people are wearing. And the average person was wearing about $10,000 to $12,000 worth of clothes.
Damn.
Well, when you get custom fitted, tailored clothes, not fitted, but tailored, I should say, that's thousands of dollars.
Yes.
The watch is $5,000.
If you have it, I can see that is the major difference. I mean, one, I never wear suits, so I didn't really care. I just wanted a basic
I don't think
black.
Your basement cares.
Right. My basement does not care. I'm going to wear it to a wedding. The suit looks fine. Nobody's going to be paying any attention to me.
No.
Now, if I had Bill Gates money, I would have.
Well, now you're getting to my punchline before I goddamn get to it.
Oh, well, get to the punchline. Okay, go ahead.
So they do that, and then you'll see in that show Billions that the main dude this season, the guy that's replaced the old billionaire with the new billionaire called Prince, he's wearing an expensive suit but no tie, and his shirt is unbuttoned, and the top button or two are open. And then you get to guys like Elon Musk that are wearing T-shirts, and so it you start going from wearing cheap basic clothes to getting to what most people would think of as more fancy clothes. You go through the suits, but as your value goes from, and it's not even billionaires that are just doing this. I know a lot of millionaires that are dressing kind of like college students. But certainly when you get to a point of a comfortable life, at or approaching fuck you money, and that fuck you money factor is going to be different for everybody. Not everybody needs an airplane. Not everybody needs 10 cars.
Right.
So for some people, the fuck you money factor is at a lower place if you don't need all that crap. But they're once again starting to veer towards dressing like college students. Very basic shirts, basic jeans, but they're all designer T-shirts, then designer jeans. And so those, that T-shirt might be $800 and those jeans might be $3,000. And the shoes are definitely $3,000.
The average person looking at you goes, he spent $50.
Yeah. Because you look like you just walked out of Walmart.
and you don't want to judge a book by its cover. That was...
No, you do. That's a misnomer. I think you absolutely do, because more often than not, you will be correct. But the reason that saying exists is because not every time.
Right. Well, that was what happened when I worked for Radio Shack back when they were a force back in the late 80s, early 90s.
The kids here don't even know what that is.
I know, it's sad, but they used to have in the area here
a cool store.
Was all computers. It was the Radio Shack computer store that wasn't your normal Radio Shack. And as the story goes, a guy came in and was looking around, except he looked like a bum, and nobody wanted to go help the guy out, and nobody did. And it turned out he was some kind of one of these guys, like you said, that were dressing down. He had just come from the gym, but he was looking to buy like $250,000 worth of computers and
at Radio Shack.
Well, at the time,
this
that's
sounds
where you
like a phony baloney story to me.
You don't remember when Radio Shack was the place you went? This was going again back to the late 80s, early 90s, where they were doing a decent percentage of, they were competing with the IBMs at that point.
Yeah, no, they were incompatible. That was the one thing I remember from the 80s, is that the Radio Shack PCs were incompatible with the IBM PCs.
Well, the color computer was. Then they did get into the PC where they ran Bill Gates' beautiful operating system, and and then the world was beautiful. But if I had $1 billion and I needed a suit, I would have spent way more than the $300 I spent to go pick up a suit.
To go get the suit, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have paid somebody $300 just to come to the house and show me a suit if I had that kind of money.
Yeah, and that is the advantage. You can have them come to you for most things instead of like doctors. Like people that are, let's say they have under 10 million even in assets. At that point, even guys in that range that I know, they will have the doctor come to them. They don't go to the doctor.
Sounds about right.
The options that you get increase with the amount of money you're willing to spend. No shocker there at all. But it's one of those things that you start to wonder, well, why is it that there's never enough money? Like, why does it always feel like you have to keep making more because you're going to run out?
Right.
It's because you find out about these options that you didn't know about when you were making $50,000 a year.
Right. You're spending way more money.
Yeah, you're spending way more money because you like the things that the way more money gets you.
Sir Spud the Mighty in the troll room says he believes you need about $15 million, I'm guessing, in assets overall to live in style. And that's probably right.
I totally agree. I would agree with him.
I mean, you can have $1 million, but depending on what your age is, too. If you have $1 million,
bucks is...
That's your retirement, if you're lucky at this point.
Yeah, I've spent over $1 million in Austin just fucking around.
Well, I mean, that's not hard.
It's not hard. It's really easy, and you definitely look like a bum doing it. I mean, I was not like spending money on fancy clothes.
You're not like, let it rain, baby.
No. And one of my buddies that was here, that's he same exact thing. He sold his company for I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say he sold it in the neighborhood of 6 or 7 million. He got for it. Gone in 10 years.
But did he have a good time?
My other buddy, Adam Curry, back in would have been the 90s, late 90s, sold his company for significantly more than that. Gone in 15 years.
But did he have a good time?
Well, of course you do have a good time, but it's not as good as you imagine when you're making 50,000 a year. So you're like, oh my God, if I had $1 million, I would like do all these. I'd go buy new tires for my car, and I would do all these things.
Isn't it way worse then when you don't have it and you had it at one point? Because now you've grown accustomed to those $700 bottles of scotch that you like.
But just the first time. Because the second time you go broke, it's not nearly as bad. Believe me, I've been there.
This is like riding a wave.
Yeah, it really is. It kind of becomes that. So whether you're making it the second time, you're making your second million or whatever, or whether you're you're going through your second bankruptcy and you're having to start over from scratch. The second time is a lot easier because you kind of have, a base that you're working off. You've got experience in having done it before. You know what it's going to take. You know what you would have done differently that now you can implement. Do differently.
It's not the end of the world.
It is in a week. But that aside, kind of like, okay, this time around, I don't know if I really need to get that brand new Mercedes S-Class every 2 years for a lease that costs more than more people spend per car in their whole lives.
Right. You make different choices.
You start to appreciate the things that are disconnected from your first experience. That's the thing. We're all willing to pay more for the first experience of something. Like the first time you have $100 bottle of wine, you're like, holy shit, this stuff's so good. And then you start drinking $100 bottles of wine, and anything cheaper than that is just swill. And then the first time you have a drink from $1,000 bottle of wine, you're like, oh my God.
How can I go back to that $100
I've been drinking total shit before. I can't believe I was doing that. Now I have to start drinking the $1,000 bottles of wine. So, you start appreciating things that you never could have even tried in the past. And all of those things have money attached to them, and you're able to do them because of money. So your budget expands as you start realizing that more things are available. But you know what? Your second bottle, and maybe not your second, let's say your 10th bottle of $1,000 wine. It's all right.
But can you go back to the $100 bottle at that point? Is that still okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is where you get the billionaires dressing as college bums, is because you get to that point where you're like, you know what my goal is? My goal is to find the cheapest good wine.
Right.
And I'm going to go to Trader Joe's, and I'm going to find something that is like a Burgundy or something that's sold at Trader Joe's, and it's $27. And for most people, it's like, I don't know if I really want to spend that much, because at Trader Joe's, I'm looking for the $12 bottle of wine.
Right. You're looking for a nice
that $27 bottle of wine at Trader Joe's might actually be better than a lot of $100 bottles of wine elsewhere.
Well, it has been proven by a lot of blind taste tests.
Not that John listens to this show, but I will say, I think that's a lot of the thing that John picked up early in his life, is that you can get a lot of good bargains if you look for unusual things with wine, and you know where to look early enough before other people catch on to what's good. And you can be drinking, really good stuff, but spending a lot less money for it. But to get to that point, you had to have drunk the expensive stuff first to know what to look
yourself
for.
Right.
Yeah, you got to train yourself.
What's
exactly.
Good and what's bad.
And then, and in a lot of things, the game is more about like doing something unusual, and doing something for the first time gives you way more of a rush than doing that same thing again and again and again. It's like that first time when you smoke a crack pipe.
Oh yeah, of course. We all understand what that's like.
Okay.
But
fine.
I mean,
it's that first time you do acid.
Okay, still not sure.
First time that, I shouldn't even go there.
Right, probably not. But I mean, if you have the 1 week, are you going to things you have never done, or are you going back to things that comfort you that you want to revisit?
I think the answer to your question will say a lot about the person.
Would make the difference between somebody. I would guess if you don't think that your life overall has been good so far, you're going with I want to do things I've never done. If you're somebody who is fairly content with your life, there are things you would like to revisit.
Yeah, I think it's not quite, but close. I would say that if you've actually had a really good life, then you want to try new things, because that's what's going to generate that adrenaline. If you feel stressed out and panicked about the fact that there's only a week left to live, I think for a lot of people, you're going to go towards comfort things and trying to repeat and reclaim those memories of things you did for the first time that really made you feel good.
Once you know that you're on the clock, though, I mean, all you're going to hear is tick, 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 tick. That's going to be the week.
Well, and again, going back to another great movie that should be on the list, Groundhog Day, where he didn't have a week, he had a day. His day ends at the end of the day. Now you can say, yes, but he gets to get back up. Well, okay, fine. But he still only has one day to do anything that he wants to do and make an impression on people.
And like I said, I would love to go back to Ireland, but that's like a 12-hour, okay, not 12-hour flight, but I can't have a private plane. So the whole concept of time between
you could buy a ticket to Ireland. You could easily do that.
But there's the travel time involved.
You couldn't spend the week planning the damn trip. You'd have to just say,
you'd have to jump.
I'm going to fly there right now.
Right.
Now.
Meet me in Dublin, baby. It's not the Temple Bar. It's in the Temple Bar area. They just remodeled. I was so pissed because I loved the bar at the Clarence Hotel.
Yeah.
They remodeled it now, but I'd like to go. I mean, that's not a bad place to
totally
go. Have your last drink.
I'd go with you. It'd be fun.
Woo!
There's my last trip to Ireland that I took was in 2000 with a buddy of mine, and it was a pre-wedding bachelor trip.
Go and drink a lot.
Yeah, I don't think we ate for the first 3 days. Just chewing the beer.
Yeah, but Guinness is fresh.
Fuck Guinness. Murphy's.
Oh, Murphy's. That's a stout too.
Yeah, that's the stuff that they actually drink.
Yes, depending on the
Guinness
area. I've noticed that.
Yes, I mean, there are areas that are more Guinnessy, but generally, if you start asking about Guinness, they're like, yeah, that's for export.
We do still have a few people to thank, including Betty Solero coming in with $6.96 check, which is a beautiful thing. The post office loves that.
Very good.
Sir Truck Driver coming in with $6.25, which was a split between all the shows I do. He's always like, he likes me. Gene, he's not too sure about. Kevin Seifert coming in. I think this is a new monthly donation, $5, and we appreciate that.
Sure.
And Dennis Woods, Stephen McConnell, both $5 over at Patreon. All very much appreciated. If you want to help support the show, go to unrelenting.show/donate. All of the information you need is there, and we need to come up with some, considering you were the guy behind this with the No Agenda podcast, we need to come up with the peerage. We had, with Grumpy Old Ben's, we had gurus, which we could kind of keep that going, or we need something totally new, totally unique. But you're the reason why once people get to 1,000 at No Agenda, they have to keep going for more and more because you're like, well, I paid 1,000. Now what?
Yes. So I saw that Adam told that story recently.
Yeah, you were that guy.
That was correct. Yeah, and there's been a number of fronts on which I've offered advice that was taken that resulted in positive things happening. And I mean, honestly, that's what I do for a living. So I give advice.
Okay, well, give some advice to yourself on what we'll have here on the Unrelenting Show.
I think that if you want to do something that's different, that's not like just a knockoff, which a lot of people
everything's a knockoff now, though.
No. What I was going to say
There's
is
nothing unique.
I like the idea that never ended up happening on No Agenda that I was a fan of, but unfortunately it didn't happen. Maybe we should resurrect this idea, which is start having people be members of a private club that has a dinner in Chicago once a year.
Right. You had mentioned that before. That's not a bad idea. It's like the, like Club 33 at Disney World.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is, you're donating money, but you're donating money to get to that level that gets you the golden invitation to come have dinner with the two of us.
Do we pay for the dinner, or do they have to pick up the tab when they come have dinner with us?
Well, no. I you know what? And it's a good point. Is I think that we could totally pick up the tab for the dinner if we have a sufficiently high level of membership for people to go there. I would have no problem doing that. Or we can have a lower level for that membership, but then we don't pick up the tab. Which way do you think people would prefer it?
They would probably like the higher one, but then they would try to get their money back. So it's like, if you had to give $5,000, you're like, I'd like this wine. No, I want 2 bottles of that.
Yeah.
I'd like the lobster.
It's a fixed free, so we choose the whole menu.
That
that's
makes
how
more
I always
sense.
do these things.
You are smart, Gene.
I think Adam's talked about it too. I run an annual dinner for select group of people And I know I kind of bitched about Alex not showing up, even though he was invited to it. But I run that. Used to do it in the same restaurant, but they just closed. So that's not going to be happening there. But I've done it every January. And we usually get anywhere between, I think, 25 people on the high end, and during COVID, like 12 people. But I still did it during COVID. And Adam's gone to, I think, 4 of them. But that's why I did that one is I select the entire meal. I pre-order from the menu with the restaurant beforehand. So the lesson learned is if you have more than 4 people at a table, don't let people pick their own food because it takes too damn long.
Yeah.
When you have 25 people and 2 waitresses, it's like an hour-long process to get everybody's meal or to get their order in. So this way, we avoid that whole thing. It's all pre-ordered. Just order a bunch of different stuff. People can try what they want. And, tons of gluten, tons of all the tasty stuff, all the different meats, organ meats, all the yummy stuff. So, and this is why Adam always bitched about Russian food. But
hey, well, we have plenty of
doing
good.
A dinner like that, you kind of figure out. So I think my dinners were running at about $70 per person for the cost for the food plus tip,
which is horrible.
It's not hard math. That's without wine, but with vodka.
Oh, well, of course. What do you think of all these morons pouring out the Russian vodka?
Oh, my God, they're
idiots. To me.
What a fucking waste. It's so stupid.
Like you paid for it.
You paid for it already. I mean, if you say, well, don't buy anymore. Oh, well, I think that's stupid, but fine, whatever. It's, but on the other hand, most vodka that people consider vodka is total pig swill, in my opinion. So who cares? A lot of the Russian brands aren't really Russian either. There's certain brands that are really good, and you'll see those actually being drunk by actual Russians. But a lot of things that pass for, like, Smirnoff, which is super cheap shit, is an American brand. I'm sure there's plenty of bottles of that getting poured out right now. Stoli is actually it's manufactured in the U.S. under license.
Well, with a lot of that stuff, it is because there's no reason to make it
and then ship a bottle. Yeah, that would make little sense.
Now, Irish whiskey, by law, to be able to be called Irish whiskey, it has to be made in Ireland.
Yeah.
But vodka, no, there's no reason you can't. Can't make that elsewhere.
That's why the Russian, like the ones made in Russia, usually have the word Russia in the name of the vodka.
No, I like the idea. We could do a weekend. And you can have both levels, like the lower level.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what Tim Pool did. That's
pizza party Friday night.
Yeah. Chicago deep dish pizza party Friday night. And then for the $1,000+ donors,
Gibson steak, baby.
We get to yeah, there you go. Perfect. Let's do it. That'd be a little more than $70 a head, but sure.
Yes. Oh, yeah. It would be.
But again, it's like, no, we control the budget.
Yes.
It'll be good, guaranteed.
You can have a damn good steak.
But you're not going to order that 96-ounce porterhouse.
Right. But you could still get a damn nice, when we were there in July, the steak that I like that's WR's cut, which is the bone-in ribeye. I think that was like $60. I mean, that's probably up to $80 now because of what's going on, but it's reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, so again, if we're talking about $1,000 donor, I don't mind spending $100 of that on dinner
and having a good party and some good conversation.
Exactly. Plus, you know how it works. Like whenever there's big events for No Agenda, there's a lot of envelopes coming in.
Sir Gene,
that's kind of the expectation.
Okay, why am I picturing you in Gibson's, which for people who don't know.
We got to wear suits. We're wearing suits. We're in Chicago. There's about 15 of us and a lot of envelopes getting passed down.
I'm saying
the table.
Everybody in their nice, Armani suits, and then you're in the black tracksuit Adidas with the gold chains.
Oh my God. I will. Okay. Now you've made it official. I will definitely wear the tracksuit when I get out there.
That would be hilarious. That would be great to be like, do you want to you want to pay honor to Gene? Do you want to go kiss the ring? You just go up there. Just don't move quickly though. Just go, bow your head, go very slowly, speak in quiet tones.
Mm-hmm.
I could see this happening. It would be fun.
I think it'd be fun. It'd be fun. Now, the only thing is, I think given the rate of donations coming in, there might be one person, if we wait about 2 years, that would join us for dinner. But it sounds really cool in theory.
Yes. And it would have to be a something that would be a yearly cutoff, or a rolling year is fine.
Yeah.
But you can't have like, I donated and then I'm coming to this for the next 40 years.
Oh, no. Right. No, I think it's basically donating $1,000 gets you a golden ticket to come to dinner.
Ooh, we could actually make golden tickets, but not out of gold.
We could totally do that. We could steal them from Willy Wonka. And then, not a particularly good movie. And then
either one, the remake or the original?
Either or. I mean, Gene Wilder was decent, but I still not a great movie. But if we do that, then yeah, you present your golden ticket when you get to the dinner, so that you want another ticket, it's another $1,000. Perfect.
Right. You want a +1? That's
Now, John and Adam were trying to make a living off this stuff. So John, I think it was mostly John, nixed the whole idea of paying for anything. So his idea was, hey, let's, if people want to get together, maybe we do a Vegas get together and then, have people fly out there and they can buy us dinner.
See, but I fully get that as well because of the problems that will arise. Like people want to bring wives, husbands, dates to these things.
Oh, no problem. Just get more golden tickets.
Right. It seems like you're getting a little greedy, but
not at all.
There is
you gotta make sure that there are rules. You can't not have rules.
There is something to be said for just everybody shows up and puts their own bill, but it is a different concept.
I mean, have you never been at a club?
Right. Well, that's what a no agenda meetup is that everybody shows up. It's not prepaid. No, it's not.
Those meetups. Oh, by the way, I'm going to not that people care, but I will be going to the meetup tomorrow in Austin here.
Oh, well, there you go. You can go see Sir Gene in Austin.
Yes.
And where's that at?
It's the same place it's always been. I can't remember the name of it. It's like somebody's backyard.
Just go to the same place where it's always been. Somebody's backyard.
Literally,
Sir
it's
Gene
not
will be
a
there.
backyard. It's a restaurant called something name I can't remember. Backyard, like Jim's backyard or Don's backyard or something.
Billy Joe Bob's.
Something like that. And then they have a little bit of food, horrible waitresses, and mediocre drinks.
I was gonna say that's the draw, the horrible.
Yeah, I'm not the one who picks it. I occasionally go. This is why I don't go every time, because it's not I go there for the people, not the food experience, I guess.
Right. Well, that's what
and now that I don't drink and I'm only eating meat, it's going to be only the people experience because there's no not much I can eat there. I guess I can see what kind of meat they have.
Let's see. There is a. So that would be on March 5th. Then is it Sunset Valley, Texas?
Probably.
That is the local 512 pre-South by Southwest Hell meetup at 1 o'clock. Wait, 1 o'clock Central Time Zone? That's a little early.
Yeah.
But they come celebrate with your Baron of the Armory and Keeper Christine at Doc's the weekend.
That's the one.
It's at Doc's. Okay.
Doc's backyard.
And there is a meetup in Chicago tomorrow, too.
Oh, you going?
No, I do not go into the city of Chicago. I will start doing meetups now that the COVID restrictions are gone, at least for now. I would like to do one in the southern suburbs. So for people that are in the area, maybe Oak Brook, maybe Orland Park.
Do you never go to downtown? Downtown Chicago's pretty.
No, I've been there, done that. That's part of what you want to talk about. Like last week, no, wouldn't want of your life. Would not be downtown
Chicago.
Chicago.
Be in downtown Chicago in the last week of your life?
Nope, been there, done that. Got spent a lot of time there, and no, it's not exciting
fond
anymore.
Memories of Chicago. Chicago used to be a fun town.
Used to be, not so much anymore.
Back in the 70s,
back when I was under 10,
it
was less fun for me at that point. I'm guessing.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess technically the last time I wasn't really in Chicago though. I was on the outskirts of Chicago eating a pizza a few months back, but that doesn't really count. But the last time I actually was in Chicago, like for for more than one day. Last time I was in Chicago would have been 2000.
So it's been a while. Wear your Kevlar.
22 years, and I was wearing suits back then. Yeah.
Wow, you were fancy.
Yeah. I like wearing. Well, I used to like wearing suits. I don't really wear suits. I just wear tracksuits now.
So it'll be the pizza and beer meetup, and then the wine and steak meetup. Now, if you want to come to both, I mean, then that's a different level too.
So for the pizza beer one, everybody just pays their own way. So that way, it's super cheap. We don't have to worry about budgeting.
You can eat as much pizza as you can afford.
That's exactly right. I like that. Eat as much as you can afford.
That is, I like it.
And what level would you like to put people on that get invited to the pizza? $100?
Yeah, that seems fair. I mean, that's.
Like $100 is probably not a one-time donation. It probably means 5 or 6 months worth of donating for most people on this show, and I think that will be enough to demonstrate that they are avid listeners.
Yes, it's a very low bar.
It's a pretty damn low bar, because we don't want to just invite anybody, right?
DigiGuru says Rush Street still rocks, and maybe, but it's Chicago, and
So wait a minute. So the steakhouse we're going to is not in Chicago?
Oh, they have one in Oak Brook, which is
we're going to a suburban steakhouse. No.
Yeah,
we're going to a real steakhouse.
No, it's the same one, same company, same thing exactly. Except you have a less chance. I was going to say you have a lower chance of getting shot, but there was just a shooting in the Oak Brook Mall a few months ago or a couple of weeks ago.
Mall? No, we're definitely not going to that.
It's not attached to the mall, though. It's a self-standing building.
You're really not selling this well.
Gibson's, baby. Gibson's Oak Brook, I think, is the best Gibson's. I'm not going downtown. Downtown is evil. I mean, unless you're getting limos for us that are Kevlar. and then
you're not going to get shot going to a steakhouse in downtown.
Dude, this is Chicago. You get shot everywhere. People are getting shot going up and down the expressways. The expressway
getting shot
all-time high.
South Chicago, not like in downtown.
Dude, no. Downtown people are getting shot now.
I'm going to get shot on Miracle Mile.
Yes, this is happening now. Read the news. It's horrible.
Oh, my God. All right. Maybe we shouldn't do it in Chicago.
Maybe we should be thinking of a safer city like Moscow.
Kansas City. Yeah,
Beirut.
Moscow.
Maybe.
Yeah, Lebanon's really nice now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might want to think about a safer city like that.
A safer city. It takes all the excitement out of it.
This is part of the draw. It might be your last week.
It might be your last week. Exactly. Going to celebrate our last week annual party.
Yeah. Hopefully it's after you had the big steak and wine, not on your way to the steak and wine.
That would suck. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, oh boy, I can't wait to enjoy this.
And so your story ends, but not our story. It will continue next week. 9 a.m. again next week, Friday. Is that what we're thinking?
9 a.m. Friday is what we're going to be doing for a while.
So get up early, get your coffee on, and just be unrelenting.